Working in Ardha Chandrasana teaches us the art of a reach and a push. So as Isabel comes into triangle pose, she's going to lean forward into her front knee and find balance. She finds balance in the front leg. She can begin to push with that foot, and then she learns to reach with the back leg. Using the wall helps her find the connection from the foot that's stabilizing her on the floor to the foot that's reaching out now into the wall. In our regular daily practice, we often don't have the wall behind us, so we're not really sure how to reach or what to reach for. This teaches us well the connection from the front to the back foot. To come out, she's going to bend her front knee and then place the heel against the wall once again to reaffirm the reach into the back foot. Now we'll be working with two variations of shoulder stand. This will be the easier of the two, especially if it's difficult for you to get your hips off the floor in this pose. Isabel has both of her feet on the wall. She's pushing with her toes to get her chest closer to her chin. She takes one foot off the wall. That foot is reaching toward the sky to give her the length in the pose, while the other foot is remaining on the wall to bring her chest closer to the chin. Normally in this pose, I see people resting into their shoulder blades when really we're meant to be on the tops of the shoulders. If you feel confident, you might want to take your other foot off the wall and reach up through the heels. Imagine that you're standing on the ceiling. At the same time, keep pressing your shoulders and the back of the head into the floor to create grounding. When you're ready to lower down, you can bring the feet to the floor behind your head. Release the arms behind you and use your abdominal strength to slowly lower down. Be mindful that the wall's behind you and don't come down too fast. In this next variation, we're able to get the stretch of the spine without having to deal with the difficulty of the hamstrings. So here Isabel can bring her feet to the wall. It might be very difficult for her to bring her feet all the way to the floor. So she can begin to stretch her heels into the wall to open up the backs of the legs and still get the length of her spine. Noticing that her tail really is resting right over her heart. And slowly, as the lower back and hamstrings warm up, she can bring her feet closer and closer to the floor. She keeps her hands on her back for spinal support, and then taking one foot off the wall, and if she's feeling confident, the next, coming into the full pose. To come out, bringing the feet back to the wall, and then walking down the wall as far as you feel comfortable. Be mindful not to overdo it, as you can easily damage the discs in your lower back. Lowering down and resting there. It's often useful to use the wall when we're trying to find balance. You can see here that Isabel has her arm raised up against the wall, and then slowly, as she feels the center of her ankle, she can take that hand off the wall and easily come into balance. She can use the wall in her peripheral vision to help her understand where her center is. When coming into pigeon, if your hips are very tight, we find it useful to use a blanket. Placing the blanket right in the center of the mat, Isabel will come in from down dog split and take the leg over the far side of the blanket. Here she can use the blanket to help square her hips. So she'll take her left hip bone forward until it touches the blanket, and her right sitting bone back so that it can rest back into the blanket. It gives her a line of focus so that the hips can square evenly, and also brings the floor up a bit so that her hips don't have to be quite as open to come comfortably toward the floor. If you find that one blanket isn't enough, feel free to wrap a second blanket so that the floor is lifted even more and you can open the hips slowly and easily.